Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're doing something that it feels a little bit like sci-fi, but it really isn't. We're setting the clocks to right now, early 2026. But we're going to spend our time looking in the rearview mirror at the absolute tornado that was 2025.
It really was a defining year, wasn't it? I mean, you ask anyone in tech, and especially in cybersecurity, and the landscape today looks almost, well, unrecognizable from just 12 months ago. The plates just shifted.
Completely. And to help us figure out where we've all landed, we're digging into the Stanton House Cybersecurity and AI Startup Salary Guide 2026.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A salary guide. Did I just tune into an accounting seminar by mistake?
It does sound dry on paper, I'll give you that.
Right.
But this document, it's not just a spreadsheet of numbers. It reads more like a postmortem of a revolution.
Right.
It has the numbers, sure, and we will absolutely get to those because some of them are frankly shocking. But really, it's a story about consolidation. It's about how AI stopped being the shiny object and became the actual foundation of everything.
Exactly. So the mission for this deep dive isn't just to tell you what a chief AI officer earns, though, spoiler alert, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's to explain why they earn that much. We're going to unpack what the guide calls the consolidation cycle of 2025 and explain why AI is now, table stakes? And then look at how pretty much every job has been completely rewritten.
And you have to follow the money.
Yeah.
Because that compensation data, it's the clearest signal of what the market actually values. It cuts right through all the hype.
Speaking of hype, let's start with that market landscape. The guide calls 2025 a major inflection point. It says the market broke open. But let's be clear, this wasn't 2021 all over again, was it?
Oh, not even close. Far from it. 2021 was, growth at all costs. Investors were just throwing money at anything with a website.
Right.
2025 was different. It was, let's call it growth with discipline. The market opened, yes, but it was all about aggressive, heavy-hitting M&A, mergers and acquisitions, not just venture capital gambling.
The headlines were just dominated by these mega deals, and the guide points to a really specific strategic shift here, the buy versus build mentality.
This is such a crucial psychological shift. For a decade, the attitude from big tech was, we have the smartest engineers, we don't need to buy you, we'll just build a copy of your product.
And they could, probably.
They could. But in 2025, that patience just evaporated. The threats are moving too fast. AI is evolving too fast. The big strategic buyers, your Googles, your Palo Altos, they realized they couldn't wait to build. They had to write a check and own the capability today.
Okay, so let's use the biggest example from the guide. Google acquiring Wiz.
The massive deal heard around the world.
Yeah, we're talking about, something in the neighborhood of $32 billion. That is a staggering number for a security tool. Why was Wiz worth that much?
Because Wiz solved cloud-native security better than anyone else. And that's a key term. Cloud-native isn't just, putting a firewall on a server. It's security for the messy, complex way companies actually use the cloud.
Containers, serverless functions, all that stuff.
Exactly. Code that spins up and dies in seconds. Google is a hyperscaler. They own the cloud. They needed to prove to big companies that they could secure that mess better than Amazon or Microsoft.
Buying Wiz wasn't just buying software, it was buying credibility at scale.
So they bought the leader to secure their platform.
Okay.
And then there's Palo Alto Networks. They seem to be on just a never-ending shopping spree. The guide highlights their acquisition of CyberArk for about $25 billion.
That deal reshaped the entire identity landscape. CyberArk is the giant of, identity security, specifically privileged identity.
The keys to the kingdom.
That's the one, controlling who has those keys. And what's interesting, like you said, is that Palo Alto is historically a network company. They build firewalls. Why spend $25 billion on identity?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Because the network perimeter is dead. There's no castle wall anymore. Everyone's remote. Everything's in the cloud. The only wall left is the login screen.
By buying CyberArk, Palo Alto is saying, we are going to own that new perimeter. Simple as that.
It feels like everyone is trying to build a kind of super platform. They don't want to just sell you one tool. They want to own your entire stack.
Exactly right. And the guide mentions Zscaler buying Red Canary for a reported $4 billion. That merges Zero Trust with MDR.
Okay, for anyone who doesn't live in the acronym soup, what's the significance of merging those two?
So think of MDR, Managed Detection and Response, as like security guards as a service, an outsourced team watching your network 24/7. Merging that with Zero Trust, the idea that you trust no one, points to a future where the Security Operations Center, the SOC, is just heavily automated.
So it's combining the human eyes with the automated gates.
You got it. And then, to cap it all off, you had reports of ServiceNow looking to buy Armis for up to $7 billion.
Which is fascinating because Armis is all about asset intelligence, knowing every device on your network, right? Laptops, smart thermostats, everything.
And ServiceNow manages IT workflows. So you combine them, and you get a system that knows every device you own and can automatically manage its entire lifecycle.
It sounds like the big fish are just eating all the medium fish. I mean, is the startup ecosystem dead? Is anyone actually raising new money?
Oh, VC money is definitely still there. But the guide uses a great word: disciplined. Investors are not funding features anymore. They are funding mission-critical infrastructure.
So my cool new AI calendar app is probably not getting a check.
Probably not. But look at the winners the guide mentions. Sire raised a $540 million Series E. They do data security posture management.
A fancy way of saying knowing where your sensitive data is and keeping it safe.
Correct. Which is mission critical when you're about to feed all your company data into an AI model. You have to know you're not accidentally feeding it trade secrets. That's not a nice to have, it's survival.
We also saw ChainGuard raise $365 million.
Software supply chain security, again, it's plumbing, it's unsexy, but it's absolutely essential, making sure the code you use hasn't been tampered with.
And what about public markets? The IPO window was slammed shut for years.
It cautiously reopened, that's the right word. We saw SailPoint return to public markets, Netscope finally went out. But the days of going public on, hype and a dream, gone. The market only rewarded vendors with strong, predictable revenue.
Okay, so that's the landscape. Big companies buying tools, investors betting on infrastructure. But the engine driving all of this is, of course, AI. The guide makes this really sharp point about AI in 2026, saying it moved from an opportunity to table stakes.
That is maybe the most important takeaway for anyone listening. A few years ago, you could walk into a VC's office, say, "We're X for Y, but with AI." And that was your differentiator. That made you special.
And now that's just the bare minimum to get in the door.
If you don't have AI, you aren't even in the room. It's like saying, "My software runs on the internet."
Well, yeah, I would hope so. The guide is very clear. Premium valuations now go to firms that embed AI deeply into defensive workflows.
Defensive workflows.
Okay, that sounds like jargon. Let's unpack that. What does that actually look like?
It means the AI isn't just a chatbot in the corner. It means the AI is doing the actual heavy lifting. It's automating threat prioritization. It's deciding which alert a human needs to see and which one can be handled automatically. It's acting at machine speed.
Because the attackers are using AI too.
Exactly. You can't fight an AI-powered attack with a human clicking a mouse. And this connects right back to that Palo Alto and CyberArk deal. The guide notes that identity and machine identity moved to the center of security strategy.
Machine identity, that's a term that trips people up. This isn't an employee's login badge.
No, we're talking about the non-human identities, service accounts, APIs, bots, containers. In a modern company, for every one human employee, there might be, 50 or 100 non-human identities running around accessing data.
And if a hacker gets one of those?
It can move through the whole network instantly.
Yeah.
So securing the robots that talk to the other robots, that is the new battleground.
It's wild. We've built a system so complex that only the system itself can secure it. Which brings us to the humans. If the AI is doing the defending, what are we doing? The guide says AI is not replacing cybersecurity, it is redefining it.
That is the mantra for the 2026 talent market right there.
A huge thank you to Stanton House for this incredibly detailed guide. It really paints a picture of a world in fast forward. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.